All right. It's time to stop burdening a man with your needs. This is a really big problem, a really big fear, rather, that women have in general. This fear of being a burden to a man because she's got too many needs, way too many needs, and a whole bunch of feelings associated with those needs as well. And this is really like as far as what I deal with in our academy program with my clients, this is right up there with the biggest issues that women deal with. This fear of being a burden, being too much, putting too much on a man, and that if she were to do that, she would be unattractive to him. She would push him away. She would be abandoned ultimately. Right? That's the fear. That is a huge, huge fear for women. Now, I'm going to clarify, right? Obviously, my title might sound a little bit confusing to some of my followers, right? I'm telling women to stop being a burden to a man. Now, the thing is that it's not the needs, and we're going to talk about this as we go into this video. It's not the needs themselves that are the problem. It's all about how those needs are communicated. But the problem is that women who have this belief, right? And it's a limiting belief, the deep limiting belief about their self-worth, that their needs are a burden, and that by association, then that they are a burden to a man. They're going to have all kinds of ways of unconsciously trying to avoid that fear from being realized, right? So you got a whole bunch of women will just avoid communicating their needs, right? Just avoidance and downplaying, right? Downplaying their needs and avoiding their needs to try to avoid being a burden to a man. And of course, what's going to happen for women like that? What's going to happen is she's going to build up resentment. She's going to feel increasingly shitty. Of course, right? That's what happens to people. That's including women. That's what happens to women when their needs go unmet for an increasing period of time. Is that they feel bad, they feel resentful, and they can be resentful towards the man, right? That can actually be a one way that manifests. The other thing that can happen, and it could be a mix of both, is that she will feel increasingly bad about herself, right? And just increasingly beat herself up as not good enough, not worthy of having her needs met, and it's all just internalized. So really, either way, it's a really big self-worth issue. Why would this happen in the first place? Well, here's what's interesting. When women are little girls, and they're being raised by their parents, one parent, both parent, depending on how that household works. She's not going to know how to communicate her needs. She just came into the world. She's 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, whatever. And she's going to communicate her needs in a way that's annoying. And I was thinking about this with my daughter, right? So she is 16 months old right now, just about to start talking, sort of saying some words. But mostly we're just, she's just doing a lot of crying and whining and all of that kind of fun stuff. And, I love her to death. I love her more than I could possibly love anyone. But the way that she communicates, of course, is really annoying to me at times. And depending on the extent of it, right? If I either can't figure out what it is that she wants, or just not something that I can more desire typically that she wants, right? But it feels like a need to her in her little 16-year-old mind, that will get increasingly annoying for me. I will feel annoyance in my body. Now, for most parents, right, and this isn't to blame parents or shame parents. Everyone's basically doing the best that they can, but there's a lot of really unaware parents. There's a lot of parents that are living through their own wounds rather than healing them. And so all parents are going to feel annoyance at times with their children. But if they feel that annoyance and then they take that annoyance out on their children, well, what happens? Those children are given the message, hey, my needs don't matter, right? And part of the problem is the parents themselves, right? Their own wounding, but that's not how the child is going to interpret what's going on. And then the other part of the problem is that those children are just not communicating in a way where a parent would be really just inspired to meet those needs. Okay. And the same thing continues on into adulthood, when those parents did a really god awful job of of teaching that little girl how to communicate her needs in a vulnerable, beautiful, responsible, respectful, inspiring way, what happens is that little girl gets the message: my needs don't matter. If I communicate my needs, they won't be met, and I need to downplay my needs in some kind of way, or I'll be abandoned. Right. So then, so many women today are carrying around that terror. Really, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. And think of this right now. So any women listening to this, really feel into it. Like, how many of your behaviors are actually being dictated in a relationship by that fear of too muchness, that fear of being burdensome to a man in some way. Now, for some women, it's huge, and it's literally like it's everything, right? It's dictating all of your behaviors. And for other women, it might be to a much lesser extent. But either way, when you're feeling that fear, which is stemming from that limiting belief, then it's going to be playing out in your behaviors and your communication. And ultimately, the way that that's going to be playing out is ensuring that your needs aren't going to be met in some kind of way. Because either you're going into avoidance, you're going into downplaying, or you're going into actually communicating your needs that are a burden, right? Because you keep trying and you're just so frustrated that your needs aren't being met, but you're doing like judging or blaming or leading, all kinds of different stuff, kinds of patterns, whining, like victimhood stuff, all kinds of ways, all kinds of patterns that don't work, that literally are a burden to a man. Okay. All of those, we'll call them strategies, right? Those need-getting strategies are massive, massive burdens to a man energetically, right? He will feel the drain. He will feel that really big drain on him. And it's like, really don't want to take care of her needs. Really don't want to even be around her. Really don't want to spend a lot of time with her. Really don't want to spend my money on her. Really don't want to claim her. Really don't want to lead this relationship into marriage, into lifelong commitment. Why? Because he's feeling that drain. He's not wanting to meet those needs. And it's not the needs themselves. So what women have to understand, it's not the needs themselves. It's just all the need-getting strategies that don't work. That's what it is. And that's just going to be reinforced, right? Because when you try doing stuff, whatever the strategy is, and it doesn't work, you're just getting the message over and over again that, oh, my needs don't matter. Pretty terrible message to get. And like painful, like really, really painful. And in my marriage, I like that was what played out with my marriage the first few years. Before I started learning about, taught myself feminine communication and started teaching my wife feminine communication, learning how to communicate, helping her communicate her needs in a way that actually inspired me. I did a lot of selfish stuff. Right? I was quite selfish in many ways. And part of that was my own wounding too, right? It's not just her. It was the combination of my wounding and her limiting beliefs around her self-worth and the way that manifests with the way that she communicates. And the result is a lot of her needs didn't get met. And of course, how she's going to feel. How was she going to feel? Resentment. For her, that was mainly what it was. Lots of resentment. It wasn't so much internalizing anything on herself. It was just, fuck this guy, fuck my husband kind of attitude. Understandably. Because, in the reverse, if it was my needs not getting met in that way, yeah, a buildup of that over years, I would feel the exact same thing. It's very painful, extremely painful. And many women, that's just what they experience their entire lives. Every man. Hey, Stephen, good to see you. That's what so many women experience their whole lives, and they don't know why. They don't know why. That's what this, it's a terrible thing about all of this, is that they don't know what's going on, and they either think it's them, like, oh, it's me. The problem is me and my needs, and I'm just a burden, or they think it's the man. And just he's not stepping up, he's not being man enough, whatever, or it's a mix of the two. But the great thing is that this can be shifted, right? This limiting belief and the results of that limiting belief can be 100% shifted. And this is exactly one of the things that we do in our Academy program for women, is over time help them shift that belief. How do we do that? by get them communicating in a different way, in a radically different way, where we start breaking all of those patterns that you're playing out that are not serving you in any kind of way. They're not helping you. They're not helping your life. They're not helping your love life. We break them. We show you how to break them. And then whenever we notice that you're playing into them, right, you're going into that pattern and you're actually doing things that will push us away, right, push me away as a coach. It's not because I'm not just as a coach, right, as a man. So I'll feel it in my body. It's like, don't really want to take care of this client anymore. What do we have to do? We have to lead those clients out of it. Lovingly, of course, right? Just show them, hey, here's what you're doing. Here's how you need to shift this. And then actually give them the communication tools to communicate in a way that actually inspires a man, where their needs are not a burden. And over time, guess what happens? They start to believe, oh my God, you know what? My needs aren't a burden. I'm not a burden. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. And then what happens when that belief starts to change? The behaviors change, the belief changes. Guess what starts to happen? Well, you start getting very different results from men. Or like if you're in a relationship with a man, then with your man. And your entire world changes. That's what I want for every single woman out here, in the world. So to every single woman, at least every woman who is ready to do this work, to make these shifts, to realize that her needs matter, and to realize that there's a way of communicating her needs in a way that will inspire a man to want to take care of her. Now, if you're realizing at this point that, man, yeah, you know what? My needs are not getting met. I have all these needs and they're not being fully met. I'm feeling, and here's the thing, this is the last thing I'll say about this, is that either the man is not taking care of your needs at all, like just not really interested, or he's doing the things that you want, but you can feel the resistance. You can feel the sense of obligation that he is doing that stuff, whatever it is, spending time with you or taking you on a date or buying something for you or spending time, whatever it is, you can feel, oh, I am burdening him. He's doing this and he's burdening himself with my need. Women are perceptive. You're going to feel that. You will feel that in your body, and it is not a good feeling. And guess what? No matter what he did for you, your need actually didn't get met in that moment, because what you needed more than anything was cherishing, right? You needed that energy of that man taking care of you. Where it's like you can feel his love. You can feel that he did it because he cared. And if you're not feeling that, then the need itself, whatever he did for you, it didn't actually get met. So if your needs are not getting met, you're not inspiring a man from a place of devotion, step up and take care of you, meet your needs, then it's time to join our Polarized Communication Masterclass. It is time to learn how to communicate your needs in a vulnerable, respectful, responsible way that will naturally inspire a man to want to cherish you without you trying to do anything. So this isn't about manipulation. You're actually not trying to do anything at all. It just happens naturally. A man will just feel inspired to want to take care of you, to want to meet your needs. And instead of it feeling like a burden for him, it will actually energize him. It will actually energize him. How cool is that? Now, our next masterclass is at the end of July. So we're about a week away. And to book your spot for that masterclass, you're going to go to relationshipyourdreams.com. Now, the link is right below my face. You can see it, relationshipyourdreams.com in the video. Just type that out, put that in your little Google search, go to the website, book your spot. It's going to be a 2-hour event where we are going to show you exactly how to communicate, how to shift your communication. And then we're going to role play it for you. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. Then we'll answer your questions. And then you're going to take that onto your dates if you're single, or into your relationship with your man if you're not single. You're in a relationship, and you're going to start shifting your communication. And you're going to start seeing results. You're going to start seeing how your man responds better to you. You don't have to keep suffering. That's a choice. Go to relationshipyourdreams.com, and I'll see you there.